Professor Nikhil, and hopefully the session will be okay. And as desired by a few participants, we have given lunch break in between 2 to 2:30 p.m. So hopefully this will be okay. Please bear with us. So now we are going to start the session 4, and the session will be chaired by our head of the department, Professor Surya Chattopadhyay. So I request Professor Chattopadhyay to please start the session, sir.
Good morning. Good morning to all the participants and the honorable resource person. It is my privilege to introduce Dr. Nikhil Mariwala on behalf of the Department of Physics, Tripura University. Dr. Mariwala is now working as an associate professor and head of the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, University Institute of Engineering and Technology, Kurukshetra University. He did his MTech from Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering from Institute of Advanced Education, and PhD from NIT Kurukshetra. His area of interest include software-defined radios, cognitive radios, soft computing, wireless communications, wireless sensor networks, fuzzy system design, and advanced microprocessors. More than 31 students have completed their MTech dissertation under his supervision. He has published several books and book chapters in different international books. More than 30 publications in reputed international journals, and 20 papers he already presented in different national and international conferences. Now I am requesting Dr. Mariwala to present his valuable lectures on sensor technology. Please, sir.
I'm very grateful and thankful to you, sir, for inviting me over, and it's a pleasure to be a part of this program. I hope that there is no technical problem from this end. I just heard, sir, regarding that there was some technical issue in the morning, so I assume that there is nothing of that sort. I'm very thankful to the university for inviting me over, sir, and I hope that the talk today would benefit all the participants who are present over here. So without taking much time, I'll start over with the talk. I've already sent the questions of for this particular session to sir, so he can actually take over. And after this, I hope, sir, my voice is pretty much audible to you all, sir.
Yes. Carry on.
Okay, right. Thank you very much. So, Syed Arshad, sir, thank you very much for inviting me over, and sir, the head of the department, thank you very much for introducing me. I'm very grateful to you all for having me over. So today's talk will be on the LabVIEW fundamentals and data acquisition, right? So what I'll do is I'll start with the structure over here and try to introduce this particular software to all of you. Also, in the meantime, because we have some time available, we will be designing something with all of you, all the participants, and I hope that you will enjoy learning, because what we'll be talking about today is we will be referring to the basically a graphical user interfacing programming language, where we will not write any code, but still you'll see you have written so many things, right? So I'll introduce this kind of an environment to you, though this is not an open source, but still you can definitely work with this. I hope you are able to see the screen now, sir.
Yes, it's okay.
Great, thank you very much. So what we'll be talking about here is we'll be talking about what LabVIEW is and how different aspects of LabVIEW can be utilized. So we'll be referring to the Project Explorer, we'll be referring to the parts of VI. VI here stands for virtual instrument, right? Then we have front panel, the block diagram, the searching for different controls and selecting tools, data flow, etc., and building of a simple VI. So what LabVIEW is, we just want to understand this. LabVIEW basically is a virtual environment or a graphical programming environment which helps us develop different types of systems to measure and analyze them, right? So it has a large variety of interfaces available with it. So this makes it a complete software, irrespective of any of the field you
Hello. I am not hearing, so is working or not?
all the software is some virtual instrument using this, right? So what we have is we have a front panel, block diagram, icon, and a pane grid. How it looks like, this is how it looks like. Have a look, right? These are the parts of the VI where we have a front panel, we have a block diagram, and also what we have is we have some icon pane connectors, as you can see it over here, right? I've already highlighted this. So what I'll do is side by side, I'll keep on showing it to you. So whenever you click on an icon called as LabVIEW 2013, I'm using it 2013. So when you click on this icon, this is the window that appears in front of you. I hope you are all able to see this, right? So what you need to do is you need to click on File, a new VI. So two things appear in front of you, that is the block diagram and the front panel. You have to press Control T so that both of them are actually they appear in line with each other, right? So now what you can see is we can see this front panel over here. Can you see this front panel? And we have a block diagram. Also, we have some icon pane connectors over here. Now this front panel and block diagram configuration, what they are, basically the front panel is the one where you represent the things graphically. Sir, I think I lost the connection, so I got disconnected now. Are you able to see me, sir?
Yeah. Now I can see.
Yes. Actually, there was a call coming, so it got disconnected, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry for that. So again, I'll show you the different things. I'll remove them. So what we have is, say, a numeric control over here, and I'm placing a numeric control. I have, say, a tank, so which shows me some value, right? I can right click on and place a vertical slider for me. So you can see this vertical, I can extend this here. I can place a thermometer over here. It will look like a thermometer. So whatever I'm placing,
Dr. Nikhil,
yes, sir.
could you share your presentation?
Oh, sorry, sir. Sorry. Right, sir. So now is the screen visible, sir?
Yes, it's coming.
Right. I'm so sorry. So again, I'll repeat the same thing for the benefit of everybody. Right. So these are the two things: the front panel and the block diagram. The front panel basically talks about the things that you can see. Say, for example, a graph. I'll place a graph over here. I can place a thermometer over here, right? And I can just extend it. You can see it, right? Or I can place a vertical slider for myself, right? So I can also extend this to ensure that we are able to see the movement also. You can see the movement, right? But these are simple things just to display, right? An LED can be displayed over here. I can just extend it. So you can see all the things that I've placed in the front panel are also visible in the block diagram configuration. How do we utilize them? I'll just tell you everything systematically, right? So right now, what I'm trying to tell you is the front panel will give us the output structure, and the block diagram will actually give us the representation of these blocks, right? So you can place numerous things. Again, I need not specify another. I can specify a knob over here. If I extend it, you can move it like you move a knob in your hardware structures, right? So you can move them, just holding it and moving it, right? So these are some of the graphical things that are placed or used in LabVIEW, and this is how the front panel would behave. So this is how I just showed you. So the block diagram or the backend programming would look like this. The front panel objects would appear as we normally saw, that whatever we are placing in the block diagram, the same is appearing in the block diagram configuration. Also, we can connect them, right? So once we connect them, then the icon and the pane connector comes into picture. So what we'll do is we'll start with these things, right? So I'll show you some of more aspects of LabVIEW which are very useful for us, so that you become familiar with the environment. Also, then we will be able to design a particular system for us, right? So front panel would talk about all the controls, indicators, object styles, object types, that is the Boolean, numeric, and string, right? So this is the front panel, how it looks like. Now, if you see over here, I just expanded or zoomed in. We have this run. We have this continuous run over here. I can just use this pen over here to highlight the things. This is basically a run icon. So if you want to run your program, you can use this. Click onto this. This is continuous run, right? So continuous run is utilized. This is for stop. This is for pause. And then we have some font applications in this case. And there are some more features, right? So what I'll do is I'll go back and show you this. This is how it looks like. Can you see this same thing, right? Similarly, you can see another pane connector over here, where in block diagram we have run, continuous run, then I run continuously, then we have stop, abort execution, pause. This is an important feature called as highlight execution. Very important and very interesting thing, right? I'll show you how it works. So retain wire values, etc. And there are certain more things which right now we are not using, so I will not specify it, but you can definitely click onto the move your cursor onto this, and you can just see the meaning also. Distribute object, align objects, or whatever you want to do, right? So what we'll do is we'll try and be familiar with the environment first, and then we'll design a simple system for you people, right? So control and indicators, I've already specified that we have different types of inputs, knobs, buttons available in the LabVIEW part, and we will be using them to actually control the operation, right? So front panel style objects looks like this. So we have different types of style objects. We have modern controls, we have system controls, we have also a silver control available with us. And initially when LabVIEW got started, we had some classical controls. So this is still there, right? So they're still using it. The only part is the representation is a little bit different, but other than that, all the functions are same, right? So we need not get confused by it. Then we have some numeric controls and indicators. I've just shown you. Control means basically the input and then the output, right? So what we'll do is I'll go back to this particular software, and what I'll do is I'll show you a very simple system how you can work with this. So say what we want is we want a simple structure where I use a vertical pointer and I use a thermometer for that sake. I've placed the two over here. I hope you can see this, right? And what I do is I change the value to 100. I just clicked onto this and changed the value, nothing else, right? So now you can see the two things, slider and a thermometer. A simple program to be written where I will control the output of the thermometer with the help of a slider. So I've just connected the wire. Connections will always be done in the block diagram configuration. So all the connections will be there in the block diagram, right? So now you run this. Now when you run this, you'll see, or what I'll do is I'll run continuously. So you'll see the change happening. So this is a simple program that we have written where we are controlling the thermometer with the slider. Whatever value it is showing here, the thermometer is representing the same value, right? I could have done it with a knob also, right? Now what I'll do is similarly you can use some numeric controls also. Say again what I'm doing is I'm right clicking, numeric control, multiply, and I use a divide. So I place three things: add, multiply, and divide. I hope everybody can see this. Now what I'm doing is I'm just giving the input of the slider to this adder. So if you see, the output of this particular thing is, when I move my cursor here, you can see x plus y. Can you see this? X plus y being represented automatically. I haven't done anything, right? So I've given the output to the multiplier, and this multiplier output given to the thermometer. Now I right click onto the other input, create a control, or say rather than control, I'll use a constant. So I'll remove this so that it becomes easier for us to understand. I'll use a constant over here, right? The output of this divider is given to this multiplier again, and I create a constant over here. I create another constant over here, right? So I can give some values inside it, say 5, 9, and a 32. So what I'm doing is I'm basically I've utilized the mathematical functions of creating from degree centigrade to Fahrenheit, right? So because I was using a thermometer, I just happened to use this particular example, right? So again, I use run continuously over here. Now you can see 0, but the output is something else because the mathematical computation is happening. I'll just move it slightly for your benefit to see in where it goes. Right now it has become almost constant, and now it is not increasing to that extent because it is being controlled, right? So do you understand this? Now we have introduced a mathematical program inside the structure. Another important thing that I told you was that we will be using this particular block called as highlight execution. Have a look over this block. See, you'll see some data bytes moving, and you'll see some values being represented. What I'll do is I'll just expand this for you further so that the data is visible enough while it is traveling. I'm just expanding it for the benefit of everybody, right? Now you'll see I'm running it continuously, and you can see the data bytes. Can you see that? Can you see the flow happening? And you can see the values also. So this is the beauty of this particular software, that you can even see the data flowing inside the circuit or inside whatever you have designed. You can see where the problem may be there and what is the output value. Now, if I change the output value, does it change? Yes, it will definitely change once the execution happens. Now it has changed. You can see that, right? Again, I'm changing some value because it is not that drastic, so it will take some time. It is happening slowly because data movement is being shown. Also, there is another important feature. We can use a probe. So when I move my cursor onto this line, a P comes. I hope everybody can see this. And when I click onto this, you can see the value. I can add another value to this, node executed, then another value to this. So you can see 1, 2, 3 being represented. So 1 is slider, 2 is X, 3 is Y. So everything can be monitored easily. So in all the cases in which where you are working in laboratories, this is a very interesting, important feature where you can record and save your data also, right? So whatever experiment you have done, you can just visualize the experiment first, and then you can record the data also. So these are some of the features that I wanted to show you before we start working with this particular software over here. So right now I move back to the slides. Sir, I hope everything is moving perfectly fine. My voice is clear, and the screen is also visible to everybody.
Yes, yes.
Yes, thank you very much for acknowledging. Because I'm unable to see the screen each time, right? And I would request all the participants, if there is any problem, they can switch on their mics and talk to me directly, right?
No, no.
Right. So we have these buttons over here, input and output. I've just shown you the things. We'll use them, right? So we have some more controls available in the LabVIEW part. We have some push button, and we have LEDs for indications. I just showed you that also. So you can use this push button to actually switch on and off this LED, right? Definitely, I'll show you everything what we are trying to do, right? So there are some things where you can perform a string of operations using the SKY character codes. So we'll write a program also regarding this. Normally, whenever we start writing a program, let's see, we will write it right now itself, right? I'll use another new VI, right? And normally, whenever you start writing a C program or assembly language program or any other language, they normally tell you that what you need to do is you need to write a program to display some characters onto the screen, right? This is what is normally told to us, right? So what I'm doing is I'm using a string constant. See, again, I'll use it. I'll tell you how do we do it. Strings. We have a string constant over here, right? I place it over here. I right click onto this and create an indicator for me, right? So now you can see whenever I create an indicator, you'll see some output of string coming over. I'll just expand it so that whatever you write can be easily displayed. So say I write here, welcome to the Atal program. Thanks to all for attending the same. So I've written something like this, right? So now what I want is, I want that this should be displayed onto the screen. This is my screen that will display something. So what I'll do is I'll run this, and now you can see. This is how simple it is. I haven't followed any analogy. I haven't followed anything. Whatever you want, whatever text you want, you can just input it here, and the same will be represented, right? Say I can just copy the text also. Say I can copy this text from here, and then I can place it over here. So it is that easy. I can copy the text also. You can see it. And now, can you see this? So easy. So hello to the programming world of graphical user interface, right? I can write this also. Hello to GUI programming. So whatever you wish to write, you can just write it, and the same will be displayed. So this is one of the simple programs that we normally give to the students, or we normally explain them while we are talking about any of the languages. So the beauty about this software is that you need not follow any rules. You're not following any rules. That you have to write first this, second this, third this, and then only it will execute. You can do whatever you wish to do, however you want to do, right? The only thing that you need to keep into mind is that you are using the correct data types, right? So if I'm using string, I have to use a string output. If I'm using a Boolean function, I have to use a Boolean function like this, right? So I'll tell you how. So I have a push button. This is what I showed you. So a push button comes into picture, and I have an LED over here, right? So because these two are Boolean, and now what I'm doing is I'm just connecting them together over here, right? So I've connected it. I'm running this continuously. Can you see this happening? Or what I'll do is I'll just expand this LED so that it is much more visible now to all of you, right? You can see this. So now, can you see this? This is a simple function. I just created the Boolean function, added that, and just using it effectively for my benefit. So this is how easy it is to actually use this graphical programming environment to ensure that we are programming something. Now this is the basic aspects of the programming part. So the block diagram, again, it uses terminals, nodes, wires, and we have context help also, which is very, very good as far as LabVIEW is concerned, right? It is effectively very good context help provided by the system software, and people who don't understand the meaning of the other things can definitely utilize this context help to actually understand what is the meaning of that particular and device and things that are placed in. Say, right? I'm trying to show you the things. So we have terminals, we have constants, we have different types of nodes. Nodes include the functions, sub-VIs, and the structures. We have wires and free labels. So wires, definitely we have just used it, wires, right? These are some nodes, right? Then we have some input things, right? Terminals, stop button, etc., etc., right? So I'll tell you how easy it is to actually program this. Now this is a simple program done for finding out the area of a triangle. You can do it. You can do it very easily. You just give a two multipliers and then give the input to it, right? So you can formulate this. So I think I can remove this now. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the previous part. We have just programmed this. Now what needs to be done is I'll just reduce the size so that I'm able to show you the next aspect of this particular structure. I'll be using the same example so that you are also able to follow this, right? So simple program for area of triangle can definitely be given. This might be given as a problem by sir also to you, so that you, once you are using it, you are able to utilize the features of this particular software, right? So terminals for front panels, yes, definitely these are some of the terminals where you can click on a particular icon and it will change, right? So how it will change, I'll again tell you. Say I have placed a numeric control over here. So you can see this numeric control coming. I'll right click onto this view as icon and it will change to DVA. Very simple. View as icon look like this. Remove this, it will look like this, right? This is just the representation part. So similarly, you have some terminologies being followed. This is very important. Try and understand this very carefully so that you'll be able to use it. So numeric, there are two types of numerics. One is with orange control. Another one is with blue. Boolean, natural green, and then strings with pink. These are colors representing the type of data. A lot of types that are being utilized, right? So these are the nodes, right? Wherever you use the connection, these will be referred to as nodes, right? Then the functional nodes, the sub VI nodes, and the express VI. So I'll tell you all these and show you. So this is the last part that I wanted to show you as far as the knowledge, basic knowledge of LabVIEW is concerned. Single line is scalar. If there is a double line, it is a 1D array. And if there are two lines with this type of a structure with a gap, 2D array, similarly you can extend it, right? So for floating point, orange, integers, blue, string is pink, and Boolean is green. So they automatically come like this. You need not actually change the color of these wires. If you've connected a string, it will be pink only, right? It is by default inside the system. So what we'll do is, I'll show you all the things, right? So we have already seen this. The orange color is there with us. Orange means we are talking about some floating point values. We can also use the blue color for which part? Integer value. The string, definitely I just showed you. String is for with pink color by default. So pink color comes into picture, right? Similarly, we have Boolean function. The next part is that we have some of the most important aspects in LabVIEW, that is the LabVIEW help. So where it is and how do you use it? Here it is, help. Show the context help, right? So context help, it will tell you where this block is, what this block is. You just move the cursor, it will tell you. And if you want to go to detailed help, just click on the detailed help, and a newer window will open where it will tell you, it will take you to that particular point, we'll say a multiplier, and it will tell you the details of that particular aspect, what this multiplier would do, right? So this is detailed help for every aspect that is installed or present in this software, right? And whatever you want to use, right? So this is available. So very comprehensive help. That is what I was trying to tell you. Similarly, searching controls, that is palettes, quick drop, etc. are there. So you can use this control palette for searching different types of designing things, right? Functional palette. We have some measurement, instrument IO, and other toolkits present in this. How do you search it? We have a quick drop search icon where different things can be searched, and you can follow the data flow. So what I'll do is I'll stop over here. I'll complete this structure with you, right? We are running this and we want to see the flow of data. Can you see the flow of data? I have a quiz after this. You need to answer the things, right? So we have a divide, an adder and a multiplier working together. So I'll ask few questions and then we'll move ahead in the programming, right? So LabVIEW does what? We say, for this example, we have an adder and we have a subtractor. So these two numbers are added, x plus y. The result is subtracted with this and is shown, right? So this is the question that I want to ask from all of you. Which node executes first? You need to let me know this answer as far as this particular structure is concerned, right? So which node executes first? whether it is the add, whether it is the subtract, whether it is a divide or a random number generator, or whether it is a sign, right? Any answers? I've got some answers. Add, divide, add again, right? Okay, add, divide, right? So there can be a confusion in this. I have just, possibly it will be add and divide. Also, it can be random on its own accordingly, right? So I'll simplify this. I'll break this and I'll simplify this summary quiz. Now tell me what happens. Which function executes first, add or subtract? I've just asked this, add or subtract. So you can switch on your mics because I have to move back to the chat window to see the answers. You can switch on your mic and tell me. Add is the answer, right? Great. So you're talking about add. So this is the correct answer. Now what happens? Which function executes first, sign or divide? Sign or divide? So again, I have to go back. Divide. You're saying divide, right? Okay. Everybody is saying divide. Nobody is saying sign. That's good. Fine enough, right? So again, it is execution of first. So definitely it will be divide in this case. Now try and see. Again, that same question. Which of the following executes first? That is the random number, add or divide. Now there can be multiple answers to this. This is what I wanted to highlight. Right. So I think it will be all the three except unknown. So we can definitely write an unknown because you cannot actually tell which got executed first in this case, right? So yeah, you can write divide and add, but again it is unknown because random number has the property that it can run accordingly, right? Okay, now again I take this example. Which of the following function executes last? Now this is a change, last. I'm not asking first, I'm asking last. So there are three nodes here. Which executes last? Random number, subtract or add? I'll have to see. Last is subtract. Okay. That's good. Subtract. Everybody is saying subtract, right? Great. So this is the correct answer, and this basically sums up that you have tried to follow what I'm trying to say, right? So again, you can see, because in this case there is no single answer, so I can write possibly divide, possibly random number, possibly add. But other than that, in all the cases, we normally had the correct answer in front of us, right? So last question, as far as this particular module is concerned, is this. Now, what are the three parts of a VI? I've just given it to you. What are the three parts of a VI? Again, I'll have to go back. What are the three parts of a VI? Just gave you the question. A, B, and D. A, B, and D. Okay, great. A, B, and D. So everybody understands this. That's good. So you have understood the basic aspect. You're all right when you say A, B, and D, right? Great. So now I'll straight away move to this particular language called as the G language, which is called as the graphical programming language, and we just used it. Now you can see the source code of a particular graphical programming language looks like this. We have X plus Y input, right? And the X and Y are the inputs and X plus Y is the output. This is how it looks like. Data travels along the wires. Flow of data controls the execution. And importantly, very importantly, it is not controlling the flow of code, right? Very important part. The position on diagram again is very irrelevant to us. I can place anything anywhere. It will still work if it is actually being worked. Being an expert in C, yeah, I can say that, but no, not really. But yes, it can be, because we are normally in a habit of following some structural rules, right? So here, this language gives you no structural rules. It gives you how you can actually use this correctly, right? So it is a new way of thinking. Data flow can definitely be easily analyzed. We are not talking about any code flow. Again, I repeat, there is no code flow in this, right? So data flow, you can connect it anywhere, anytime, any point, right? I'll just show you how to do it. So data dependencies, nothing to worry about all those things. We'll just see how things happen, right? So I have just taken this example for you. And what I'll do is I'll make this a complex example in front of you only, right? I hope you are able to see the screen now, the structure. So what I'm doing is uh, the structures are here and I'll use a case structure. Have a look. Just using a case structure. The case structure is of two types, true and false. True and false. If it is false, just connect this. And if the condition is true, follow this, right? I've used this condition, true and false. True and false. Now I can use a Boolean toggle switch also here to ensure that the structure is Boolean enabled also, right? Now see what happens. I'll run this. I'll just remove the highlight execution. I'll run this structure. And you can definitely see the effect. You can definitely see the effect, right? Because it is off. 0, 0. Switch it on. Starts functioning, right? Off, on. Move it. Simple program. I haven't followed any serial code or anything of that sort. I can just use this for my on off switch, right? Simple thing. Now if you want that instead of using run continuously, I use another thing, I'll use a while loop, right? For those people who haven't understood this, what I've done is right click, structures, a while loop, and put the entire code into a while loop. So this is how I put a while loop, right? And right click onto this, create a control. So I've created a control where a stop button comes into picture. I'll just use this stop button over here so that it is visible to you all, right? So here comes the stop button. See, I started with a very simple slide and thermometer, and now I have gone to something which is looking very complex to you, but it is not complex at all. Again, I've just used run continuously. You can see the Boolean function is working perfectly fine with me, right? It is providing the data, and here is the stop button. So the loop is gone and the button is controlled, right? So this is how easy it is to use these commands that normally are there in C, and you have to follow certain set of rules. I'm against those rules. It should be a free programming environment where whatever you feel, you can just connect it. So I thought that I would utilize a while loop. I can utilize it afterwards also, right? I need not go back inside the program to that particular place to understand that now I have to do this. Because this is already written in C, so this is also following some structured rules, but providing you an environment where structures can definitely be eliminated. So now here, what you can do is, you can see the flow of data also. Have a look. So the condition in the Boolean is true. See the output. Now I change it. So it becomes false. So now you see the false. Earlier you were not able to see it, right? So when I executed the highlight execution part, you're able to see the two conditions, right? True. Now true, and then the output and the true part comes, right? So now I stop it, and you're able to just click onto this button. So it has executed that loop and then came out of that, right? So friends, I hope you are understanding and following what I'm trying to give to you. You're still worrying about the test. I don't know. I've already taken some kind of test with you people. Don't worry. These will be simple questions. Don't worry about the test.
Hello?
Are you able to understand what I'm trying to tell you over here? Yes. So I'm able to see the screen now, and yes, continuously some yes are coming. So that's good. That's good. See, what I want is I want everybody to understand these simple things so that you are able to use it for your own benefit. Right now, what I'll do is I can make it more complex. Do you want me to do that? Yes, I can do it for you. Right. I can use some numeric indicators over here. So if you see a numeric indicator I've used here, what I'll do is I'll just connect this numeric indicator here so that it shows me the output. So I can write it also, output. It will show me the output over here. I can use another numeric indicator. Okay, I'll use it from here only. Numeric indicator, which will give me the input. Right. Just change it to icon so that the space I'll take it out and connect it to this. So see, I'm just doing it whatever I'm liking. This is an input for me, right? If you want, you can. If you want to check intermediate values also, you can use another indicator, and you can connect it over here. Right, another numeric indicator. You can connect it with this, right? So if you see, I'll just remove this. I remove icon, remove view as icon. View as icon, I've just removed it. So you see, it will look at this is a very complex circuit. I don't know how you have just designed it, but normally, as I have explained it to you, as things just keep on coming to your mind, you can definitely do it accordingly what you want, right? So just have a look. We'll run it, and now you can see. You can see the values, and you can see the change in the values also. Can you see this happening? Right? So all the values are changing. So output, input, numeric values, they are all changing for me to actually help me out around this. I hope things are pretty much clear as far as the basic designing and basic usage of this particular software is concerned. Because if this is clear, then I can move to the next level. Right? So I have already given you the new way of thinking, where you can build applications accordingly, right? So the applications in this particular language are called as virtual instruments. I've already highlighted this part to you people, VIs, which are made up of two parts, which is front panel and source diagram, or a block diagram as we call it. Always start with the front panel. You need to place the, these are some rules, right? But you can also omit them. There is no basic phenomena that you always have to start with front panel, but still it is good that you start with front panel. You can draw a pencil block diagram to understand that whatever blocks you want. Basically, this is a G code, so we have already made a G code, and you are all done with it. Just make a block diagram and you're done with it, right? So simple things. We have some wiring tools available. I'm using it with you people. So building this particular structure using of different nodes. These structures we have already used. While loop, there is for loop available, right? There are case structures available, sequence, formula node, and we have just utilized them, right? These are all similar to the statements that you have seen in C, etc., in other languages. So they are very easy to use. You have already seen that while loop, right? So before I go to the theoretical aspects, I'm just giving these to you so that you are able to understand what I'm trying to say. You can use shift registers in this. We just connected one shift register of a Boolean function, if you remember, right? Just quickly going through these things because we don't have that much time available with us. So there is a for loop, there is a sequence available with us. So we also have a formula node, a very, very interesting thing, right? We do have a formula node available with us. Structures, and here is the formula node. You can write your own formula inside it, like the way you program something in MATLAB. You can write that program also over here, or a formula over here, and the same gets executed. Put it inside the circuit, the same would get executed, right? It has taken it, and it has already embedded this inside it. So we have a formula node available with us, and this can definitely be utilized. So you can write this kind of a formula. A and B are the two terminals. Normally, whatever you like, the terminals come over, right? So yes, you need to avoid large numbers of arithmetic functions in this case, and it has more than more inputs and outputs. So use this C syntax, right? So we also have an event structure. We are not talking about this right now. The next part is moving to the next level. So because we have understood how to design simple systems with LabVIEW, now the next part comes how to use data acquisition systems with LabVIEW, right? So there can be different acquisitions done through this particular software directly. So there are terminal blocks, there are DAC cards, and there are sensors available with this software. So you can utilize these sensors, take the real-time information, process it to the DAC cards, give it directly to the LabVIEW, and LabVIEW will process it accordingly, right? So there are certain things that need to be understood for DAC acquisition. I'm just running through this presentation because I'm not having any DAC card available with me to show you exactly what needs to be done, but these are some of the DAC cards that are available, right? NI Elvis kit is a very interesting and important kit being utilized by many laboratories. All the features of the physical breadboard are present onto this kit. You can make your own circuit on this kit, connect it directly with the computer, and analyze all kinds of inputs and outputs, whatever you want to see, right? So this is an easier structure. So we have some BNC connectors, SC2075, etc. There are many more, right? So I haven't specified all over here. Channels and tasks. So DAC measurements is done using through a DAC assistant. Because I'm not having any card, but I can still show you DAC assistant how it is using. So we have some instrument, as you can see over here. We have some DAC card connected with it, and you directly connected with the computer over here. So the outputs can be represented directly onto the screen, right? So this is how it can be used. Loops and while loops we have already utilized. So what I'll do is I'll move to the next level to ensure that we have followed this, right? So what I'm doing is now have a look. I'll tell you a very simple structure over here. I just forgot to tell you regarding this. Now this circuit basically is looking very complex. So what I've done is, have a look. I've double clicked onto this icon, right? This icon appears in front of me. I'm just selecting it out and deleting this. And what I'll do is thermometer, temperature, right? I'm placing it over here, degree centigrade, just to indicate what I'm doing. Right, so the icon has changed. Also, I can do one thing. I can click onto this. Create a sub VI. This has changed. Everything has gone and has changed to sub VI. Again, clicking onto this icon. Removing this, again I can write temperature. This is what I want, temperature. Degree centigrade over here, placing it over here. And you see the icon change, right? So this is a simple thing. So now it will not look more complex to you. Have we tried to follow this. Usha ji, there is no open. Okay, I'll explain the use of while loop also. Is it a proprietary software? Yes, it is a proprietary software, and there is no open source software available as far as LabVIEW is concerned right now. You can take it up as a project, right? Because this is also some PhD project work which was done by one of the developers of LabVIEW. He developed this software as his PhD study, right? So you can definitely take that up. But right now, there is no open source code available as far as this structure is concerned, right? So, any other questions? No, nothing much. Yeah, right, Ushaji. Thank you very much. I hope I've answered that. So yes, so what I did was I've just changed this icon. Again, I'll tell you, edit, create sub VI, because you need to connect to that, and the sub VI will be connected. So a sub VI is this one. Now if you see inside it, it is like this. Now it is showing me in another window. So this is the beauty of the thing, right? I just capitalized on the features of this particular structure and using it effectively. So somebody was asking me to show you the while loop. So what I'll do is, for the benefit of everybody, I'll quickly revise what we have done, right? So that you all understand what we were up to. So I'm using this pointer again over here, just extending it. I'm using a thermometer for myself. Just revise the things so that it is easier for you to remember the things, right? Now a thermometer and a slider, and what I'll do is I'll use some numeric controls. I'll use an adder, multiplier for me to actually produce the multiplied output, and a divider circuit over here. So the slider input, one of the inputs going to the adder, creating some constant. The output, one of the outputs is given to the multiplier, and the divider output is given here. I connect this to the thermometer so that whatever inputs I giving are actually taken up by the thermometer effectively, right? So I'm creating some constants here. So now whatever values you want to give, you can give it according to the formula. So I'm using the same formula that we used earlier so that this can be utilized easily. So see, now this will function perfectly as we wanted to do, right? Because this is running, not running continuously right now. So yes, now let's see, right? It is started functioning. So somebody was asking me for a while loop. So yes, I can definitely give you a while loop after this. So what I've done is I've used the case structure over here, a true and a false, and for the false part, I connect it directly, right? And for that Boolean function, I'll use a vertical toggle switch over here so that the Boolean function also is utilized, right? So this is the simple structure that we have built. Now, if I want this to run continuously, a while loop is created for this entire, right? And I create a control. Control means a stop button comes automatically for me. This is the stop button. I can even use some timing here. I can just implement some timing, create a constant and write a value. Say I can write a value of 10. So it will be slower, little slower for me. Right? Can you see this? So I hope the question that was asked for while loop has been answered now. GUIs can be done in MATLAB or Scilab. Yes, you're right. Again, these are not a free softwares. The MATLAB is not actually a free software. MATLAB, you have to install, and a Simulink is the one where you can use the GUIs. But again, I repeat, the libraries that are being utilized by the GUI in MATLAB are not that effective, as you can see, because again in MATLAB you have to follow some rules to write the codes. That is the important part that I'm trying to tell you. Here there are no rules. Whatever comes to your mind, you can just do it, right? So the step that was there to create a sub VI, again I'm doing it. So I just click onto this particular structure, edit, create a sub VI, and the entire circuit is gone and only a sub VI is left for me, right? Now I can change this and just see what I do. Temperature over here, place it over here, and you'll see the temperature icon coming down. So it normally reflects that you are working with a temperature structure, right? Now you can run this. You can find out what is happening and you can stop it very clearly. Yes, somebody, I think, please provide the link. Which link? I don't know. How to decide which hardware to buy for DAC? Yes. It's very difficult for us beginner to understand which DAC card to be utilized. So that is why I gave you an example. Example is for NI Elvis, right? If you're working with digital electronics or you're designing any circuit, you can buy that particular kit called as NI Elvis, and then you can work with. Other than that, you can put a query of your problem to ni.com. They will definitely reply you back with the available DAC cards for your solution, right? Say if somebody is working with a communication toolbox, wants to work with communication kit, so they have a MyRio or a USRP available. You can work with that, right? I'm myself working with that, so that is why I can highlight. But you cannot work with all the toolboxes. Now what I'll do is I'll take another leap and I'll talk about the next part where you utilize the available toolkits present in the lab view. We'll quickly go through this. We have an Express VI over here. Kindly have a look. Express VI, we have input. I use a simulate signal over here, right? Now this simulate signal, once placed, will give me some kinds of output: sine, square, triangular, sawtooth, etc., right? And what I want is, I want to display this output, so I put a waveform graph. I just extend it so that you are able to see it. So this output is directly connected with it, and I extend it, right? So once I run it, you'll see the sine wave. Very simple. Now somebody who was asking for while loop, very importantly used in this. I'll use a while loop. I'll use control to stop this. Also, I'll use some timing so that I'm able to control this curve which is coming and able to utilize the things. Now run this. You see the waveform moving, right? Earlier it was stable. Now it is moving. I can increase the speed, just reduce the time. I reduce this time to 50. Have we increased the speed? Yes, we definitely increased the speed. So the moving waveform is here. Now I can create a control, or say rather than this particular thing, what I'll do is I use a knob. So this knob is connected to the amplitude. I use another knob which is connected to the frequency. Right, if you want, you can connect all the other things also. I can connect this to offset or phase, whatever you want. So I'm giving them as input, and I change it change the values to, say, all the values to 100, and just click away. I have to, if I had to do this in any other language, it would have been very difficult, right? Because this is graphically controlled, so you can see it is an easier option for me. So you can just move it around. Now what you see is this knob. Say I have forgotten which knob was this. Just click it and it will show you like this, right? This is the knob. So this is for amplitude. Again, second knob. This is for frequency. So I can write it over here so that I remember what I'm changing and what I have to do. Right, third knob. So it will show me what is the connection over here. So this is phase. So I'm just giving you some simple example. Now I run this. So if it is 0, you see there is no output. There is nothing coming over. Now I change this. I change this. I change this. You will see something happening. You will see some signal coming, right? So this is how it looks like. Now can you just see this? Right? So this is how easy it is for me to work with these kind of systems which are actually graphically programmed. So this was a simple thing that we did, a simple program that we made, and we are trying to ensure that you are trying to follow this. So I can just stop it through this stop button and the functioning stops, right? Is this clear? Friends, what I'll do is I'll show you certain systems. I'll show you certain more systems just to make sure that all, I don't know which field you all are working with, but there are so many toolkits available that whichever field you are working with, every toolkit is present as far as this software is concerned, right? So that is why I'm just preferring this over other softwares. So now I'll use again the Express VI over here, the input, and I'll show you a very simple thing. Read from the measurement file. So something which you want, you have some data, right? Say I have an ECG data available with me. So how do I do it? How do I analyze it using LabVIEW? I'll tell you how do you do it. So there are 3 types of files that you can read: binary text, binary with XML. I have a binary file, so I change it to binary TDMS and give it the path. So the path has to be specified where the data is kept. Say I have an ECG data available and I've given it a path, right? Simple. Now I want to plot this data over a graph. So simple thing, I use a waveform graph and I connect it with it, right? You can extend this again to see what are the inputs and outputs available, right? So what simple thing, read from the measurement file to a waveform graph. And just expand the graph, right click onto this visible items and graph palette. So you can just see the expanded version, right? So this is some output which has directly been read, because I don't know how many of you have seen the ECG wave, but most of you have seen it in normally different movies. So this is how it looks like. This is an ECG wave. I was having a data with ECG wave. I've used it. So this is the raw data that was taken from the ECG machine. And if you can see clearly, there are some noises in it. And expand it further, you can see these noises. I have a direct structure available with me in signal processing where I can remove this noise. I have a wavelet denoiser, right? So I'll use this wavelet denoiser for me, and I'll show you how this functions. The only thing that I have to do is I have to just ensure that the waveform of this wavelet denoiser is actually like a ECG. So I'll use another graph, a waveform graph over here. And now what I need to do is I need to connect it with the denoised part, denoised signal. And from where the signal would come, it will come from this. Right? So the ECG signal given to wavelet denoiser, and we'll see how this happens. We'll run this. Again, I'll use graph palette over here to just show you has the signal being denoised or not. Just expanding it for you. Have a look. Can you see this? I've expanded it for you so that it is easier for you to analyze. Now the noise is gone. There was a lot of noise in the signal which has been removed. Now to do it for a machine, it requires a lot of hardware circuitry, right? But here we have utilized it with the simple structure. Again, I'll be using a while loop so that you are able to understand what I'm trying to do. While loop and a control over here. Right, I run it so you can see. Right? So I can stop this and run this accordingly. You understand this? I hope you are able to analyze. Now this is one of the characteristics that you could have read the direct file. Also, another characteristics is export this data to Excel. So the data coming.
Screen is not visible.
Screen is not visible. Resume. Oh, okay.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Screen is visible.
Okay, sir. Okay. So you right click onto this waveform graph, export this data to Excel. And you'll see an Excel file appearing. Can you see this data over here? Now you can just select it. And what you can do is, you can plot your graph over here. You can see this graph, right? So whatever you want to do. So very easy for us to understand what we are trying to do. Export the data to the Excel, very easy. You can export it to clipboard also, to a specified image also. There are so many options available as far as this structure is concerned. I don't know what happened. It just went away. So this is an easier part. There are many more examples that I can talk with you people. There are many more things I can discuss, but right now I don't think there is much time available with us. So what I'll do is I'll just stop over here. I'll still show you certain things. When I right click onto this, these are the toolkits: measurement IO, instrument IO, a mathematical toolbox, complete mathematical toolbox, signal processing, advanced signal processing toolbox, whatever you want to understand, data communication, the connectivity, the express VIs, the add-ons, real-time functionings, robotics, biomedical, FPGA, DSC modules, electrical power. You're working with electrical engineering, a brilliant toolkit is available. NXT robotics, right? RF communication, sound and vibration, state chart, test stand, you name anything and you get everything over here, right? There are so many libraries. So you may be from any field, right? So this particular presentation was dealt for benefit of everybody. You might be from any of the fields. You can still use this very effectively. I hope, sir, I was able to communicate my work to all of you. Though I haven't communicated runtime change to change the value of control. Tool using runtime change. I just read the question. Runtime to change the value of control. Oh, simple, ma'am. I just use this. There is no tool. Right? These are the inputs. You can just use them. They are running. The Program is running continuously, and you can just change them, right? I'm running this runtime. I hope you were asking this only. Or you can use the control value also, no, not an issue. That is what I was not trying to use earlier, right? But if you want, you can use that also. Let's say for offset part, I'll show you. Create a control, right? So this is the control. Now you have to just up and down the value with this, or you can write the value inside it. So it's better that we use what type of application we are trying to work with, right? This is the cross wire indicating that the connection was not right. Sir, how you have prepared this software? I haven't prepared this software, ma'am. This is being distributed. Bhattacharya, sir, I haven't prepared this software. This is being distributed by National Instruments, and we are using, because we are having this. We have procured this in the college. We are using it, right? So I'm just using it for some of the applications. Yes, you can definitely find that out. Difference between numeric indicators and controls, right? So again, I'll tell you one. A numeric control is like this, and numeric indicator is like this, right? So now I just connect the two together. I just connected the two together. So if you give any value here, the same has to be indicated. That's it. That's it. This is the simple thing. What is the algorithm used? There is no algorithm used, sir. It has to be developed by you. I am just talking about how to utilize the features of this software. The problem needs to be identified by you people, and you need to develop your algorithm accordingly. Just the only thing that you need to do is you need to understand or draw a flow diagram, a block diagram for your problem, and utilize these blocks. Ma'am, shortcuts. See, what I'll do is I'll send my presentation. I'll send my presentation, and there are all the shortcuts available in this, right? So simple shortcuts. While you start working with this software, you'll definitely follow them, right? Otherwise, all the Windows shortcuts are also utilized in this, right? So I hope, yes, Tejaswini ji, thank you very much for asking these questions. The point is that all the shortcuts are similar to what you are using it in Microsoft Windows, right? Anything else? Right. So I hope I was able to give something good to you people, and you can even switch on your mics and talk to me directly. Please share the assignment link. Assignment link will be shared by Sarah. I don't know about that. So I'm just here to answer the questions right now. So if you can let me know that, because I'm done with my presentation now. I just wanted to understand whether you people have followed something or not. And if there are any questions, you can still switch on your mic and ask me. Right. So if there are no questions, then I think I'm done with the presentation part. So I'll thank everybody. I'll just show you the contact mail ID that you can talk to me, and you can, if you have any queries or if you want to work with this software having any problems, you can definitely talk to me regarding this or mail your queries on this mail ID. Right. So that's it from my side. So thank you very much for listening to me patiently and asking the questions. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, sir. I hope you are there and you can now take over. So I'm stopping the presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Mariwala, for presenting a nice lecture. And I am also convey my thanks to the participant for listening this lecture. If any question from the side participant side, then you may submit it to chat box. Professor Mariwala will give them reply. And he also suggested you to send questions through mail. He will also provide their answers through mail also. Is any question? Please submit.